Your family will betray you, the American dream is a deceptive lie, strangers will try to take advantage of you, love is lost in the past, and religion won't save you. Here is the story of Ethel Cain. This video is for you in two scenarios. The first one is that you've never listened to Preacher's Daughter and you don't know the lore. Bear with me because I'm about to take you on a crazy journey. The second scenario, you've listened to the album but you don't know the full lore yet. And I've compiled everything in this video so you can know the whole story of Ethel Cain during your next listen. I genuinely believe that Preacher's Daughter is the best concept album that I've listened to. I've never listened to such a precise, detailed, elaborate lore. So today we are going to deep dive into the story of Ethel Cain, the Preacher's Daughter. Make yourself a cup of coffee or tea, grab your favorite snack because I am going to take you on a journey. Before we start, I have some trigger warnings. This video will talk about sexual abuse, violence, religious trauma, war, alcohol, and drugs. And not just a little, a lot. So if this might be triggering to you, I suggest you maybe switch to another one of my videos because they are lighter. The album starts with the track Family Tree Intro. Before the album even begins, the name Ethel Cain already tells us a lot about her story. You're probably familiar with the book Inferno by Dante, but basically it is describing 9 different circles of hell. The last circle of hell, the 9th, is referring to the traitors. The 9th circle of hell is actually a lake that is made of 4 rings, and the first ring is called Cain. This is the ring of the traitors to their family. So this will relate to Ethel and to her whole story and the story of her family throughout this whole album and the next to come. The story is set in Shady Grove, Alabama, in a town with a very tight, not religious community. The father of the character, Ethel Cain, was actually the preacher of this religious community, but he died when Ethel was only 10. In this album, Ethel is a teenager and retells her story and how she views it. The song and thus the album start with a preacher's monologue. The preacher, her father here, is preaching about the importance of mothers as God's special gift. As I said, Ethel grew up in a religious family, a religious community, and in this song she is talking to Christ, who will be her confidant throughout the album. These crosses all over my body remind me of who I used to be. And Christ forgive these bones I'm hiding from no one successfully. Here the reference of her bones not being hidden hints at Christian chastity, which sets the scenes of the ideas of the community Ethel Cain grew up in. But the fact that she can't hide these bones is also hinting at the end of her story. As you're about to see in this album, Ethel Cain is going to run away from home. But despite running away and her attempts throughout the story of this album, Ethel will never break away from her family's roots and the central role that religion played in her story. Jesus can always reject his father, but he cannot escape his mother's blood. He'll scream and try to wash it off his fingers, but he'll never escape what he's made up of. As Jesus trying to wash off the blood of his fingers and trying to escape his family, Ethel will never escape her mother, and she will ultimately call for her at the end of her story when her fate has ultimately happened. The fates already fucked me sideways, swinging by my neck from the family tree. He'll laugh and say, "You know I raised you better than this," then leave me hanging so they can love at me. In the chorus, the father calls back to raising her but abandons her. Ethel announces her fate to come. Her father will never come to save her. He only left her with the marks of his religious education and tight morals, but mostly with the marks of the trauma that he made Ethel endure and that she tried to escape, which ultimately caused her fate. She is literally swinging by her neck from the family tree where her father washes his hand of his responsibility in her fate. We then move to the second track, American Teenager, a song that you've probably heard. These 2 tracks set the whole lore of the story and they're very important. In the intro of the music video on YouTube, we hear "God loves you, but not enough to save you," an important theme throughout Ethel's story. At the heart of the story of Ethel Cain is the pursuit of the American dream. The term American dream was popularized by James Truslow Adams in 1931, saying that life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement, regardless of social class or circumstances of birth. This term is a bit vague, I think, in the end, Bettering your life is vague and suggestive, especially for young Americans. In a way, in my opinion, it can be as confusing as the pursuit of religious righteousness, making its pursuit all the more distressing in the end. In American Dream, Ethel sets the scene of her life in rural America and highlights parts of the American dream and how it betrays America's youth. Grew up under yellow light on the street, putting too much faith in the make-believe, another high school football team. The neighbor's brother came home in a box, but he wanted to go, so maybe it was his fault. Another red heart taken by the American dream. Being fed illusions is at the heart of the youth experience in a capitalist world, and especially in America. Her life is driven by high school and the importance of the football team, which also is at the center of the American teenager life. She also highlights in this song how the American dream is weaponized to groom the youth into the US Army. At the heart of the American dream is the ideal of freedom, which is also at the heart of the US global imperial interventionism propaganda. This was so hard to say, trust me. You fight for your country's freedom, at the cost of your family, at the cost of your neighbors, at the cost of your youth, and ultimately for many at the cost of your life. And I feel it there, in the middle of the night, when the lights go out and I'm all alone again. Say what you want, but say it like you mean it, with your fists for once. A long, cold war with your kids at the front. Just give it one more day, then you're done. I do what I want, crying in the bleachers, and I said it was fun. I don't need anything from anyone. It's just not my year. But I'm all good out here. American Teenager also sets Ethel as this idealistic person who will chase this American dream at all costs during her life. This pursuit is ever present, it drives you, it gives you hope at night, and it even is in your private dreams. But the American dream also feeds individualism and capitalizes off isolating individuals. Something most Americans try to escape through religious communities. I love her mind. Sunday morning, hands over my knees in a room full of faces. I'm sorry if I seemed off, but I was probably wasted, and I didn't feel so good. Head full of whiskey, but I always deliver. Jesus, if you're listening, let me handle my liquor. And Jesus, if you're there, why do I feel alone in this room with you? Once again, America waging war comes at the cost of its youth, and feeding them of the illusion that war will end soon. It's just another small sacrifice that they have to make. Back in her hometown, Ethel is free, at the cost of this blood, like Americans, and cries as a spectator before this tragedy and her own illusions fading. It's not her year. Her torment will surely end soon though. She too has to hang just a little longer in there. Ethel sees her everyday life ruled by the religion customs of her family and town. Here Ethel is also hinting at the role that substance such as alcohol play in distracting people and soothing them while they hang in there, waiting in America's society, waiting for the American dream, especially in these small rural towns. If religion is meant to encourage you to love your brother and help others, American governments have long weaponized Christianity, in my opinion, in order to feed the meritocratic ideal and encourage others to be individualistic in the capitalist system. It's you alone having to make right by Jesus and God. The American dream won't drive you closer to your community. But Ethel is a character who will never stop chasing it. I do it for my daddy and I do it for Dell. I'm doing what I want and damn, I'm doing it well. She will live her life doing what she loves in honor of her father and of Dale. Here it's a reference to Dale Earnhardt, legendary NASCAR champion who died in a racing accident. Do it for Dale is a popular say in America, especially in the South from what I've seen, and it's a reference about racing fast but racing safe to win. Like her hero, Ethel will race, but it will ultimately lead to her death. In this song, Ethel sings about her first boyfriend, Willoughby Tucker, lamenting in the pain of her heartbreak. The title of the song refers to the abandoned house where she and he would meet, and they would imagine that it was located in Nebraska. The song sets the theme of Ethel retelling her story in an unreliable way for the sake of making it more beautiful and close to the ideal she's chasing. And as listeners, we witness her do that for the first time.
You and me against the world. You were my man and I your girl. We had nothing except each other. You were my whole world. Then the day came and you were up and gone.
So this song really talks about Ethel laying in her heartbreak and recalling the happiness of the days she spent with Willoughby, a name that is very hard to pronounce. The song also highlights Ethel's faith in God and her confiding to him when she's hurt, and she also references to using alcohol in order to numb the pain. It's a lamenting song about heartbreak and loneliness. Here she's also painting this image of heartbroken American teenagers mourning an idealized happiness, an idealized love, thinking back to the teenage years. These years, especially in high school, in my opinion, are overly idealized in the US. You have so many narrative and fictions revolving around high schools being the best years of your life. And I feel like it's very distressing for American youth. And youth is at the heart of the American dream. So it would only make sense that as you grow up, you will look back on these years and teenage love would seem like the epitome of the romantic experience.
Your mama calls me sometimes to see if I'm doing well, and I'd lie to her and say that I'm doing fine, when really, I'd kill myself to hold you one more time. And it hurts to miss you, but it's worse to know that I'm the reason you won't come home.
Why Willoughby can't come home, I'm not sure. Some people speculate that he's actually a complete fantasy of Ethel, so I don't know what I think about this theory. Let me know what you think in the comments. So a house in Nebraska shows how Ethel will forever try to chase happiness and love, resembling her first story with Willoughby. Following this, Western Nights, the track number 4, is covering the pursuit of happiness through love. Something that often leads women, even so when they are young, naive, or fragile, in the arms of toxic men. In this song, Ethel is talking about her story with her second lover, Logan Feltz, and she paints a picture of their life on the road. In the song, we understand that Logan is actually a violent partner. Ethel throws herself wholly in her romantic relationship, and she's even willing to change herself in order to find the happiness she's chasing through her partner, even though she's aware that he's not really good.
Trouble's always gonna find you, baby, but so will I. Crying only because I'm happy, hold me across every state line. I'm never gonna leave you, baby, even if you lose what's left of your mind. 'Cause you know I'll be right there beside you, riding through all these western nights.
But this song is about the expression of devotion to her lover. Despite his ways, she will never leave his side.
I haven't spoken to my daddy in a long, long time. I don't want him to worry, always wondering if I'm alright. But the neighborhood gets getting smaller, all starved out when the money's paper thin. All that's left are your walls, and you'll die there. I should have known that there's no getting in.
In this song, Ethel looks back to the life she left behind when she ran away. Here, she expresses for the first time her desire that her parents don't worry about her. Her town, like her father and her old life, are slowly dying. This paints again the picture that Ethel, as an American teenager chasing the American dream, has a lot to run away from. Many American teenagers live in strong delusion between the American dream and their hometown life. It's a place that you have to escape, and if you don't, you are judged for it. Sadly, all the more reason for Ethel to stick by Logan despite his way. We then move on to the track Family Tree. At this point in the story, Ethel's lover, Logan, has been killed in a police runaway after a bank robbery, and she is now alone on the run. We grasp that she has discovered a family secret, but we, the listeners, don't know what it is yet.
I'm just a child, but I'm not above violence. My mama raised me better than that. When the preacher talks, that man demands his silence, and Daddy said, shoot first, then run and don't look back.
In this song, we understand that Ethel has been violent in the past, a violence that might have to do with her time in her religious family.
So take me down to the river and bathe me clean. Put me on the back of your white horse to ride, all the way to the chapel. Let you wash all over me.
It highlights how her desire to run away from her roots and her family is also a chasing of redemption, of happiness, and of a fresh start. The crosses on her body and their weight is a metaphor for her not being able to escape her past. We also have in this song the first hints of Ethel having suffered sexual abuse from her father. But the chorus of the song really focuses on Ethel's desire for redemption and a clean start. She wants to be washed.
They say, "Heaven hath no fury like a woman scorned, and baby, hell don't scare me. I've been times before."
In this verse, scorn lets us know that Ethel has been wronged, but we don't fully understand how yet. Here, she also expresses her fearlessness. Her hell has been her past and the suffering that she has suffered at the hands of her father. Despite her being religious, her experiences have made her unafraid of the higher threats of hell. Ethel Cain has been a reckless girl, and she is no longer afraid anymore of her ultimate end. But she still yearns for redemption and opens herself to get it.
These crosses all over my body remind me of who I used to be. And Christ, forgive these bones I've been hiding. Oh, and the bones I'm about to leave.
This last verse calls back to the intro of the album with her bones, but here Ethel's fate is getting closer. We then move on to the track Hard Times, and at this point in the story, Logan has been killed in a police runaway after robbing a bank, and Ethel is alone on the run. The fact that this song is right after Family Tree is really heartbreaking to me, because in Family Tree, Ethel expresses her being ready to get clean from her family history, and Hard Time is a song where she has an epiphany about the sexual abuse she has suffered at the hands of her father when she was a child.
Hide me there, under the leaves, 9 going on 18.
Time went on fast during her childhood and teenage years, maybe making it easier for her to bury the abuse she suffered in her memory. But now that she ran away and that she's alone without Logan, it's all coming back to her.
Tell me a story about how it ends, where you're still the good guy. I'll make pretend, cause I hate this story, where happiness ends and dies with you.
Despite this epiphany, even in this song, she is clinging to a desire of the story where her father is still the good guy. He can still be her hero.
I thought good guys get to be happy. I'm not happy. I am poison in the water and unhappy. Little girl who needs her daddy real bad.
But in her own story, Ethel doesn't even see herself as the good guy, as if she was the one poisoning everything around her, her environment, and not the other way around.
In the corner on my birthday you watched me, dancing right there in the grass. I was too young to notice that some types of love could be bad. Praying I'd be like you, doing all the things that you do, and I still do. And that scares me.
Grown, Ethel sees the behavior of her father in a new light, understanding that his love for her was twisted. But despite everything, Ethel still yearns for her father's love. She knows that she is still his daughter, and her love and admiration for him are not going away.
I'm tired of you, still tied to me. Too tired to move, too tired to leave.
The song ends with the haunting Ethel suffered from her father molesting her at night and the physical pain he made her endure. Raising the question, please, can I sleep? Throwing the listener in the moments when Ethel was suffering the abuse, mirrored years later by the insomnia that its memory is causing. It's a cruel pain, mixed to her missing her father, mourning the image of a dad that she did not really have. This may be part of the reason why, despite the hurt, Ethel remains attached to her religious beliefs, because they still offer her an image of a father who may welcome her with benevolence and open arms. This draws back again to their family name, Cain, because treason in a family can happen in many different ways. We then move on to thoroughfare, and family treason is once again taking place as Ethel runs away for good. There begins the second part of Ethel's journey, because she is meeting a very important character, Isaiah. In the first verse of the song, we go back to the heart of the character who's chasing the American dream idealism. During her journey, here she has met Isaiah. In the first verse, Ethel tells how, like her, Isaiah is held filled with the American dream idealism and left home to chase it.
I met you there in Texas somewhere on the thoroughfare, on the side of the road in some turn-up clothes, with a pistol in my pocket. I didn't trust no one, but you said, "Baby, don't run, I'll take you anywhere." So I hopped right in, out of luck to spend, and at least your truck beats walking.
Ethel is tired from walking, and she's clinging to a sense of safety thanks to the gun that she's hiding in her pocket. Exhausted, Ethel will choose to journey with Isaiah because his car is better than walking. Side note, but I think that it's funny because in Western Nights, Ethel tells Logan that she would hold a gun if he asked her to, and here she's alone without him, but she has the gun, so it's like he left a mark on her. Ultimately, Ethel's quickly ready to put her faith into others in hope that following them will bring what she's chasing, and this is what is happening here with Isaiah.
And you said, hey, do you want to see the West with me? 'Cause love's out there and I can't leave it be. And I said, honey, love's never meant so much to me. But I'll come with you if you're sure it's what you need.
She there expresses that love doesn't mean that much to her and that what she's chasing seems bigger than that. So together, they are going to embark on a true US journey. Here, him asking her if she wants to see the West with him is a promise. Tying back to the chase of the American dream, journeying to the West is a promise of hope, of finding a happier, idealistic place, the place that she has been dreaming of finding.
But in these motel rooms, I start to see it differently. 'Cause for the first time since I was a child, I could see a man who wasn't angry.
Here, Ethel discovers companionship and learns to love with a man who is not angry, something that she's seeing for the first time, hinting again at the pain that she's endured with her father, giving us a glimpse of what her life was like. Some raise the question of was Willoughby violent? But I think that actually, since they were together when they were really young, Willoughby was a boy. Thus, she has never seen a man who's not angry. She has never found a peace with adult men. Well, this is a really cute track that I've just described. Or is Ethel Cain hallucinating, making up a story in her head in order to escape once again? Has Isaiah drugged her? Or is he the nice, calm man who wants to travel the roads with her? No. This track is the ultimate evidence that Ethel is not a reliable narrator. Reflecting on her story, she still does the thing where she is idealizing everything. Isaiah ended up kidnapping Ethel. He slowly gained her trust through manipulation, but he did not intend to let her go. In the song, in the beginning, he tells her that he is chasing love, but she is not the love that he is chasing after. In my opinion, he wanted to kind of groom Ethel, and he understood that she was not looking for a lover, but I think that if she had expressed that, he would have actually tried to play the part of the romantic partner, but he saw that she was looking for adventure and escape, and this is what he kind of tried to promise her. At the end of the song, you have Ethel who is chanting without actually forming words. It's kind of not making sense, as if maybe Isaiah had drugged her, which could explain also why she is creating this whole fantasy and beautiful story in her head, while the truth is actually very bleak and cruel. This song is right in the middle of the album, and as the title of the track indicates, it is a thoroughfare. It is in between two important chapters of Ethel's story. And here we are about to go on a new road. You may notice that I changed clothes. New chapter, new look. And bear with me because shit's about to go down. Now we arrived to Gibson Girl. This haunting and central track marks the start of Ethel's descent to hell. And the transition between the joyous sounds of thoroughfare and the voice that is almost robotic and emotionless, and this transition is really chilling to me. So Isaiah, the man who was previously introduced as this trustworthy character who was different from the men in her life and who actually gained the trust of Ethel Cain, is in fact a monster. He's a wolf in lamb's clothes. In this song, Isaiah is actually pimping Ethel to a strip club. And once again, you are understanding that Ethel is idealizing the whole story and things that are happening to her, and we are not retold the story in a true light. So at first, when you listen to it on the first time, it doesn't seem maybe that shocking, but when you listen and again and you understand what it's really happening, it's chilling.
You want to love me right now? You want to get alone with me? You want to get my clothes off and hurt me? You came alone to me from however far away, asking me to know how I know. You're all the same.
In this song, Ethel paints herself as this sensual woman. She is seemingly in control of the seduction because she is a stripper and she encounters many men who desire her, and it's even boring her out since they're all the same. She's in control of what's happening. She's aware that they want to hurt her and have sex with her, but she's in control. This control, though, is only superficial part of the story that she's telling herself, because at the end of the day, she's pimped out by Isaiah and she's left empty once the men leave. Here she is hinting that Isaiah feeds her alcohol and drugs. This song highlights a sadly too common patriarchal relationship pattern. After young women full of hope come to trust men like Isaiah, they ultimately end up taking advantage of them.
Black leather and dark glasses, pouring another while I shake my ass. He's scalded blood, so it takes more time to bleed. Obsession with the money, addicted to the drugs, says he's in love with my body, that's why he's fucking it up. And then he says to me, baby, if it feels good, then it can't be bad.
It's a situation that becomes hard for girls or young women to escape, no matter the sexual and physical abuse they suffer, because in spite of everything, their abuser make them sense a feeling of known, of safety, and they're made to feel like they couldn't found it anywhere else. Going through these behaviors is then covered and excused by love, expressing itself in whatever twisted way is the only way these men want to express. Ethel is aware that the men who come with their sexual desire want to take advantage of her, but she tells herself that she is the one in control, the one who offers herself to them and leads the encounters. It's a sense of control that is often attributed to sexy women by the projections of men fantasies. As Ethel Cain, like the singer, highlighted, I always thought that I was forward and dominant in sexual situations with men, and then I realized I've only ever been forward and dominant because I'd rather feel like it's something I'm giving up rather than something being taken from me. I wanted that to translate into the story of her being used by these men and trying to establish even some false semblance of control. The title of this song is referencing the Gibson girl, an American beauty archetype illustrated by the artist Charles Dana Gibson. It's a reference to the ideal of the frozen beauty of women and the beauty that they are always trying to achieve in hopeless pursuits. This figure to me highlights how beauty is found in the male gaze, and the song actually reminds us how hopeless, dangerous, and fruitless this pursuit is, and it often just ends up leaving women in vulnerable positions. We are now moving to a very high point in the story, Ptolemaea. Ptolemaea is the 9th track of the album, and it is inspired by the 9th circle of hell from Dante's Inferno. As I said before, the 9th circle of hell is the circle of traitors, and the lake with 4 rings, as I said before, has its first ring that is for the traitors of family. The second ring is also interesting because it refers to the traitors to their nation. So when we think about Ethel Cain chasing the American dream but ultimately never finding it, it can tie to this second circle. But then Ptolemaea is referring to the 3rd ring of this lake. This 3rd ring of the 9th circle of hell, you follow me here, it is actually for the people who betray their guests. So here they are telling us right away that Isaiah is going to betray Ethel. So actually Ethel left one of the rings of hell she was in, but she is still in the same circle. She just left one fate to meet an even crueler one, because her roots doomed her. So in this song, Ethel is under the influence of drugs that Isaiah gave her, and she is hallucinating. We have like a nightmarish sound and voice in the head of Ethel as she's faced with the darkness around and within her. Dark memories and fears are torturing her. And this track, like musically, it really plants like some sense of unease, and I would even say panic, like when you hear the song. Because as Ethel, we are tormented by her fate that is ultimately running towards her. This voice is also saying, you poor thing, it's already been done. It hints at her family curse. Cain betrayed his brother in the past, and he doomed his whole offspring. So Ethel could never run away. She was doomed by her fate. After a part of the song that is sung by Ethel, we have the deep tormenting voice that comes back with a sort of dooming sermon. So we understand her fate is catching up to her. There's nothing she could do. It's going to happen in this song. At the heart of her pursuit of the American dream was the desire to escape from her roots, something that she will never succeed doing. We then move to the track August Underground, and actually this song has no lyric. We simply hear Ethel lament in it. In this part of the story, she is captured in an abandoned shack in the woods in the attic of Isaiah. We know that she is in Northern California and that Isaiah abducted her, and his true intention came to life in the last song. The title of the song references the 2001 movie August Underground. In it, a sadistic serial killer tortures a helpless woman tied to a chair, filmed by a cameraman friend, before they embark on a killing spree in Pennsylvania. It is all referring to the sadistic nature of Isaiah. And also, the melody is portraying the physical suffering that Ethel is undergoing. Ethel Cain has been murdered. We then move to the track Televangelism. This is the second track without lyrics on the album, and it was a one-take improvisation from Ethel. The piano melody is illustrating Ethel's ascent into heaven. It is portraying a peaceful fading away. The distorted notes at the end of the song that you can hear, like, I think they illustrate her entering into heaven, and like the background confusion that you kind of have in the melody. It can be like her dying actually, and transcending her physical form. We then move to the song Sun-Bleached Flies. As Ethel died and ascended, she now reflects on her life, her family, the violence that she has been going through, the religion, and God abandoning her.
Sun-bleached flies sitting in the windowsill, waiting for the day they escape. They talk all about that money and how their babies are always changing while they're breathing in the poison of the paint. What I wouldn't give to be in church this Sunday, listening to the choir, so heartfelt, all singing, God loves you, but not enough to save you. So baby girl, good luck taking care of yourself. The sun-bleached flies are slowly getting poisoned by the paint that they landed in. And this song is a metaphor for individuals who are stuck in their toxic environments, such as Ethel was at some point. These flies are waiting for an escape without ever trying to fly away. This song is right before the final song of the album, in which Ethel addresses her mother, and I like to think that maybe Sun-Bleached Flies is also about her mom in a way, because the flies who are stuck in the windowsill getting sun-bleached could reference to the women overall in Shady Grove. These women stand by and are suffocated by the religious community of their town. It's a community of families who have been there for generations and don't do anything, any effort to leave, despite many of them, as Ethel, having generational trauma tied to the town. In this song, Ethel is also expressing her disappointment and resignation before God abandoning her. She is betrayed by this saving force that never came. We all know how it goes. The more it hurts, the less it shows. But I still feel like they all know, and that's why I can never go back home. And I spend my life watching it go by from the sidelines. And God, I've tried, but I think it's about time I put up a fight.
Here, Ethel also sings about her alienation from her community, watching life happen before she decided to put up a fight and take her own destiny into her own hands. In the song, Ethel also reflects on the violence she's been taught and her religious disillusion.
But I don't mind, because that's how my daddy raised me. If they strike once, then you just hit them twice as hard. But I always knew that in the end, no one was coming to save me, so I just prayed. And I keep praying, and praying, and praying.
But she still tells us that in her last moment, she didn't turn away from God, and she prayed. One last attempt to cling to hope, because Ethel Cain does not give up. Here the bridge reflects on the power of forgiveness and destiny, with Ethel arriving in heaven and probably meeting God, coming to terms with her predestinated fate.
If it's meant to be, then it will be. So I met him there and told him I believe, singing if it's meant to be, then it'll be. I forgive it all as it comes back to me.
I forgive it all as it comes back to me. Probably talking about the abuse she endured. In hard times, when Ethel remembered the abuse her father made her endure, she still expresses that she misses him. Her granting forgiveness is the final step she needs to take in order to rest in peace, and here it comes to her naturally.
I'm still praying for that house in Nebraska, by the highway out on the edge of town, dancing with the windows open. I can't let go what something's broken. It's all I know, and it's all I want to know.
In this last verse, Ethel reflects on the boy she never stopped loving, her teenage love, Willoughby, a name that is very hard to pronounce. She's still dreaming about a beautiful future with him in their fantasy house in Nebraska, a future where she would have been free. Despite dreaming of a better future, something that is at the heart of the chase of the American dream, Ethel could not run away from her rotten roots, and she made peace with that in this song. We then move to the last song of the album, Strangers. In this song, Ethel says goodbye to her mother from beyond her grave. Now they're strangers, they'll never see each other again. The song ends with a priest preaching as many times during the album. This gives an optimistic twist to Ethel Cain's ending, because although she has felt abandoned by God throughout her trials, she still trusts that he'll lead her to an happier ending in death as she remained trustful in his son Jesus.
In your basement I grow cold, thinking back to what I was told. Don't talk to stranger or you might fall in love. Freezer bride, you're sweet divine, you devour like smoked bovine hide. How funny. I never considered myself tough.
In this first verse, Ethel is addressing to her former lover, Isaiah, and we understand that after he killed her, he cannibalized her. Talk about a cruel fate.
You're so handsome walking over to me now.
So I kind of picture like him walking towards the fridge and Ethel still in her, like, maybe back in the room idealizing everything that's happening, or I don't know, or maybe it's sarcastic, but I find this lyric just so comical. It also like still stays consistent to the character of Ethel, like even here in the freezer about to be eaten, after all, like she's still like romanticizing him.
I tried to be good, am I no good? With my memory restricted to a Polaroid in evidence. I just wanted to be yours, can I be yours?
Here, Ethel hints again at her death, saying that she's nothing more than a Polaroidic memory and meat in the stomach of Isaiah. Despite her cruel fate, Ethel remains concerned by her time on Earth and her being good, trying to abide, but also trying to find love and belonging to someone.
Can I be yours? Just tell me I'm yours. If I'm turning in your stomach and I'm making you feel sick.
In the verse, she addresses her mother once more, but then she still addresses Isaiah. I like to believe here when she says, I'm making you feel sick, that in a way Ethel is happy that she still exists physically in a way in his stomach, and that she is scorning the man who killed her, and like she has one last attempt to be violent and hurt him, her enemy, and it's calling back to when she was violent in her earlier years, even though we don't know yet what happened.
Found you just to tell you that I made it real far, and that I never blamed you for loving me the way that you did. While you were torn apart, I would still wait with you there. Don't think about it too hard or you'll never sleep a wink at night again. Don't worry about me and these green eyes. Mama, just know that I love you. And I'll see you when you get here.
And here, in the very last verse, she's addressing her mother, telling her she doesn't need to feel guilty about their time together and her childhood, and to not think about her death and what happened, telling her that if she did, she would never sleep again. But she ultimately tells her that they will meet again. A good transition to the future projects of the Ethel Cain universe, because the next albums are said to be about Ethel's mother. So I'm really eager to see how the story will progress, what we will learn next, and I'm really eager for her to release this project. This video is now over. I really hoped that you enjoyed watching it, because I had such a blast writing the video. I was really nervous to film it because Preacher's Daughter is really one of my favorite albums. It's one of the projects that I've been most passionate about, I would say, in the last years. So I was really nervous to film this video because I really hoped that I gave you like a good picture of the story and that you appreciated it. Let me know in the comments what you think about the lore. Let me know if I missed anything. And if you want to see more videos about me decrypting very precisely the lore of an album, follow me and let me know what albums you want me to decrypt next. If you had a good time, make sure to subscribe and activate the bell. It helps me a lot and I'm very eager. I've been working on a lot of videos that I'm can't wait to post. If you had a good time, please like and share. In the description, I will put the links of the resources that I've been using. I tried to do a first run when I was just listening to the album and putting out all my thoughts, but the wiki explaining the lore and a lot of people answering questions on the Reddit of Ethel Cain helped me and gave me a lot of information. So if you want to learn more by yourself, you can go there, but I hope that I gave a pretty nice panorama of it all in this video. I will also put a link to my TikTok where I go live, so you can chat with my community if you're interested, and I will put the links to my TikTok and my Instagram where I am posting more regularly. This video is now over. Try to avoid meeting strangers on the road so they don't cannibalize you, and I will see you very soon.